Welcome to the Failed podcast, where we explore the world of failure, exploring the stories of individuals who have triumphed in unexpected ways. Each episode, we invite guests from a diverse background and share their stories. Our failures, they give us valuable lessons and the journey towards success. I may have misread that, but anyways, you know what I'm saying. I am your host, Sam Esquivel. Thank you for listening as we explore the human experience to inspire and motivate you to embrace failure and not quitting. That's what we're trying to do here, man. We're just trying to tell you not to fail. Well, we will fail, but do not quit. Keep on going. And today we have a special guest with us. Let me introduce him, Kai Woods. How are you, my man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, man. Thank you for coming through. Before we get going, Rob from the TheFailed podcast is our connection. I need to give him a shout out and give him a plug. He came on the TheFailed podcast recently. I enjoyed my conversation with him, and I've seen him around you. I know he helped you with a recent video project that you did. He was with you at your recent event where you performed. What is your relationship with Rob? How do you see we all need those guys that are just solid, man. They believe in us. They're with us. They sweat with us. You know what I'm saying? And they're not even like our managers, but they're like our biggest cheerleaders. No hate, Rob. I couldn't think of another word, but
I would say he's more than a cheerleader. He's like he is. It's this. My music is as much as his.
Really? Yeah.
Like how much he helps me, like all the behind the scenes and everything.
Man.
He makes my life 10 times easier than anybody has with the music stuff because he's there with the day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not cheerleading at all, like or anything like or just helping out. It's like
he's a brand ambassador, bro.
That's what it is. He's a part of this process just like I am.
So I wrote down a few things, and you're going to answer them much more. But I said Kai Woods, artist, creative, and much more. What else makes who you are? Because you're obviously like, I guess, R&B / hip hop. There's like some soft rock and roll in there with some of the guitars and instruments that's in your music. Cool vibes, man. Like you can roll, drive, and just listen to your music. Yeah. What else makes up who you are?
Man, that's like a deep question.
It is, man.
I think it's my upbringing.
Yeah.
That makes me who I am. Well, the reason I do what I do, and how I speak. Do you want to get into that? Or
man, let me hit you with this question. It just might help us. You ready?
Yeah.
I wrote, what?
About to get deep.
Yeah, we're about to get real deep. What was your childhood like? And can you share a fond memory or something significant that happened in your early years that you're thinking of right now whenever I said, what makes Kai Woods?
Yeah, it's crazy when you say that because it's like my childhood, my mother, she had me when she was 15.
All right.
Her mother passed away when she was 16.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, my parents being young, they actually split up and we moved a lot of places, so I never had like a stable home.
So it was you and your mom?
Me and my mom, she had 2 other kids, my 2 brothers. So it's like all 3 of us, we moved to Milwaukee. And we was out there with my granddad, for a while and whatnot. But it's like we never really stayed in one place for a long time at all. It was always moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
I can only imagine just based on stories that I've heard, but you have like firsthand experience what it is, for a woman to be single and be taking care of kids. Like, for sure, that's not easy. Mm-hmm. Looking back right now with like, now you see things that you didn't see back then.
Almost definitely.
What are some things, like how would you define your mom back then that you just didn't understand? And then when it clicks now, you're like, man, nothing but love from my mom.
What I didn't understand back then was she was a kid too.
Yeah, dude. 15 and having you. So What do you remember? What are some of the memories with your mom that you kind of take now when you write? Or it's, not that all your songs are like down or anything like that, but they're heavy. Like there's some heavy words in there.
Like I would say like I got emo vibes when it comes to my lyrics, because you can only talk about what you know if you're being true to yourself. So yeah, so that tends to come out. But what I take from her from all those years, man, is it's like we had a lot of fun. Like we grew up together. Yeah. Like we were learning how to be us together.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of moments where I was there helping her, you know what I'm saying, in life with my brothers.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what I take from it, is like that I'm lucky to be in a situation that I'm in now, because 90%, or I don't really know what the percentage is, like I should have been in jail or dead from the circumstances I come from.
Yeah.
And the position I was put in.
What are some of the traits that you saw from your mom that maybe she didn't have a choice but to develop them because she was a young mom with 3 kids, that you're like, man, I get this from my mom, man, and you're proud?
Like, well, I'm going to say, like, the crazy thing is, honestly, I've been trying to change a lot from who I am, because I feel like I'm erratic sometimes. I'm like, I'm always in the spirit of moment and stuff like that. I've been starting to slow down and be steady and actually take my time with the stuff I've been doing in life. And I've been getting better results instead of just not having patience and just jumping at something because of emotion.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing when you grow up with just a woman. Mainly, like my father was in my life and he continued to be in my life today, but when you are a majority with the woman, it's like you grab the traits from her. And it's kind of hard to understand what it is to be a man when you don't have that in your life on a daily basis.
Now, I put this post up the other day and it said, whenever you take the E off of emotion, you get motion.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you're not being so emotional now, but you are you're more critical in what you're doing.
Thinking,
What are some things in the past where you're like, dude, I went so fast, that you're changing now?
Like, with buying things, like with I need this to do this, or I need that, and now I'm putting myself in a hole. I can't do what I actually have to do to be able to do those other things.
Yeah.
So it's like I had to learn how to be patient and save money. I had to learn how to take my time and not drop things when they're not finished. So that's the biggest thing, because mostly what I talk about is music. Like, I don't really know how to talk about anything else but music, because that was my getaway. Okay. So everything in my life always came back to music. Anything I did was for my music. You know what I'm saying?
So okay, before we move forward, go like this with your shirt and push it down. There we go. We run the world. I've seen that a few times. I wanted the people to read it. Is that a connection to music? Is that a connection to your past or something you're working on now?
Yeah, this is the video that's coming out at the end of this month.
Okay.
We used to crawl and now we run the world.
Yeah.
That song is a big thing to me, man.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Huge thing to me, man.
We'll make sure we finish with We Run the World. Okay, guys, you're watching and you're probably wondering, who is this Kai Woods? And we're going to find out, just step by step. But I was going through his top songs. I'm just going to read a few titles here. He mentioned We Used to Crawl, but that's his newer stuff. I went down to 2020 at glance, and then straight to voicemail, Take It Easy, Renaissance, Slow Down. I just jumped over like 15 or 20 of them. Kind of Famous, Distance, Blinded, Till the End, Your Life, Don't Let Me Down, She Ain't Mine, Over It, Roses, Nowhere, and then I'm going to jump to the very top to the newest project, Kyran, and that's where you have Roses, Nobody, Secret of Love, We Used to Crawl, and then the most recent feature is Goals. Dude, it is a lot of stuff in there, man. You are telling a story through music. You are telling a story by connecting with experiences that you went through. That's a powerful thing. That's something that we all try to do, whether you write poems, whether you paint, books, whatever, dude. We're trying to harness that.
Yeah.
And it seems like you have found it, and you have a lot of work to show from it, man. Is there any title in there that I mentioned that jumps out and you can give me a little backstory on it?
Yeah, Roses.
Roses. That's
Yeah, I wrote that song. My grandmother's middle name is Roses. You know, I told you she passed away when my mother was 16, so
Yeah.
I never got to meet her. I try to tie the song in with a female and make something for my mother so she could hear that name. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that song just came about. It was something beautiful that I wanted to do, and all my songs, I write them in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like when I hear something or feel something, I created that song just for my mom, for she could really just hear that name. Honestly, that's where that whole inspiration came from.
So 20 minutes, you've captured years and years of emotions and stories and
Yeah.
challenges, and you captured it in 20 minutes, okay? So then you play it, you have to produce it. It's all these steps, bro.
Yeah.
And what do you remember the day where you said, Mom, I made something for you. I want you to listen to it. Did you do it
Oh no,
in?
I didn't. She don't like to hear before.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to hear when it comes out
Yeah.
on Spotify and stuff. So she heard it. She's like, "I love this song. I love this song. Rose is my favorite song." I never really told her the reason I made it
Yeah.
because I knew what she was why she was gonna like it.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to say nothing to her. I just knew I made her happy. Like, to be honest with you.
What were any challenges or obstacles that you faced during your upbringings that have that have had a lasting impact on you? And how did you overcome them? And what did you learn from those experiences?
Man, well, when my mother she started getting older, she obviously got better jobs and started getting in better situations.
Mm-hmm.
We made enough money to live in a nice neighborhood or in a nice area for go to a nice school, but we didn't make enough for me to look presentable or have the nice gear that everybody else had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the obstacle was like understand you're gonna be judged and not caring what people think and stuff like that. So like that what makes people like overthink and like, oh, are they talking about me or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I had to overcome that like confidence. I still fight it. It's like building up confidence and being okay with who you are and where you come from. That's one of the biggest things I faced.
And it's true that a lot of confidence comes from our appearance and what we look. And then kids are mean, man. You know, when we're young and we're not wearing the right shoes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there's a few things I've caught from you lately, and that is that you're kind of fly. Like you got some gear on, you got some nice pants on today. Whenever you dress up, when you perform, you had some swag on. How do you remember? Like, how is your confidence say, I'm wearing this, but it ain't this. It's me. Like, do you remember building that confidence where you could look sharp or not, but Kai Wood's still showing up? When did that happen?
That actually happened while I was working on Kyran, the project Kyran, recently, because when I had that feeling, like I literally just found myself. I really, literally, like what you're hearing now is what I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So like I literally sat down when I made the first song for this project. I was like, this is it. This is who I am. And I got almost all my insecurities of what I felt on stage or when I was trying to talk to other artists to work with me or be around people went away because I finally became who I am.
So from 2020, you put a lot of stuff out until recently. See, people get discouraged in our journey of failures and challenges and obstacles, and they say, man, I haven't hit it. I haven't made it. I haven't got the respect or support that I needed. But during that whole journey, we ourselves are present, but we don't know that person yet. And then the game changer is when you look in the mirror one day and you're like, Kai Woods, what's going on, my man? Let's take over this world. And that is so significant. And especially for people watching right now, like maybe they haven't tapped into that. And I just want to encourage them.
It doesn't happen overnight. Like I had if I wasn't pushing myself to change, I would have never created the music that I am creating on Kyran now. Because I started with affirmations. I used to write it 3 times in the morning. You're a superstar, you're a superstar, you're a superstar. Then I write it 6 times in the afternoon, and then I write it 9 times at night. And then I say every day, every time I wrote it down that day, I repeated myself before I went to sleep. So that's what I'm thinking about when I'm dreaming.
So whenever you see the words, I'm a superstar, I'm a superstar, I'm a superstar, what does it encompass? What kind of person is this superstar whenever it's attached to Kai Woods?
It's like, I like to think that I'm humble and that I'm not better than anybody. I'm just great at being myself. And whatever I try my best at being is me, and that's what makes me a superstar. I feel like everyone is a superstar in their own realm.
Yeah.
Because we all have our own idea of who we want to be. So when I say me being a superstar, it's because I'm doing what I love, and I'm not doing what anybody else love. I'm living my superstar life. I'm living, you know what I'm saying? That's what I take as being a superstar, is you being you, and you being you the best you can be.
Now, what does that superstar do for you? What does that superstar do for like performing, and what does that superstar do for the world?
I think brings hope and let people know they're not alone.
Yeah.
That's what it does mostly. It's like let people know that they don't think the way they think by themselves. That there's other people that relate and can talk to you and can be there for you.
Did you have any significant mentors or role models during, your early years or even now, and how did they influence you? And do you continue to draw inspiration from them today?
I would say this. Yeah, I was always, I won't say obedient, but I was always a good kid in the sense I listened to adults and whatnot. And I always been the type of person to take advice from people when I see that it worked for them, or that it may not have worked for them, but they've been through experience where they know like this, you might want to take this way because I took this route before. So yeah, I got a lot of people that I talk to, even people I have one conversations with, is like inspires me to change certain things in my life if it makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So to say, to answer your question, yeah, I got my college coach, my high school coach.
Yeah.
I got a couple teachers. I got a couple friends that I grew up with that I inspired to be like, from how they love themselves and stuff like that, little simple things like that. So yeah, I had a lot of people in my life that taught me how to be me.
Is there anything that stands out that they told you that you're realizing now in these past few years, and you're like, man, they saw it. They saw it when I was young, when I was playing, when I was in class, or what? Yeah. Did something finally connect, and you're like, man, I'm so glad that they put that in my head a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember I was in church. My mother used to always make us go to church Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. We were like at the altar, and they were praying and everything, and one of the guys came up to me. He was like, "You're going to do something great, KJ." Because my name's Kai, but back in the day, they called me KJ.
Got it.
Yeah, so he came up to me. He was like, you gonna be something great, KJ. He was like, "I know you're going through something right now." I never talked to him before.
Yeah.
Never really talked to him. He knew my name. We say hi and bye. But he was like, "You going to be something great. I already know it. I see it in you. I was praying for you." And he told me to come tell you, you're going to be great.
Yeah.
So that always stuck with me, and that's one of the things that pushes me real hard in life, and I always think about that moment.
Dude, that's crazy, man. That we remember those, and it's just like a sentence here or a pat on the back there, but it's just the amount of push that we need when we're young, because we lack so much understanding, and then at some point it just hits, and we're like, man, I'm thankful. So this past weekend, I saw you performing for Ernie Day. Shout out to Ernie. He was on the TheFailed podcast as well. And you performed, and you went up there. I said, man, that's Kai Woods. Let me pay a little attention there. And you were singing, and you were, interacting. You passed out some roses, and you were doing your thing. You were very confident up there. And a lot of people have stage fright. They have a fear of speaking in public, all of this stuff. You know how that goes. Yeah. So who is that Kai Woods up there, and what is the stage? What's the dynamic of performing on stage for you? How do you process that? What is it that you're going through?
Man, that's just me dancing in the room by myself to my songs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, that's what I do when I'm in the room by myself. Exactly what I do on stage. I sit there, and I don't do the same thing over and over. It's always something different. But it's just me having fun with the art that I make. Even if I never got on stage, I would still be in the room doing that same thing. So it's like what you see on stage is me just doing what I love and me being who I am. And I am scared. I am afraid because I love it so much. I don't want to go up there and bomb.
Yeah.
So I do have anxiety. I do get nervous when I'm up there. But I know if I don't go up there and try my best, that I will never succeed in trying to do what I want to do. So I say skip the fear, and I just go up there and do what I do in my room. Honestly.
can you share a specific instance where you faced a challenge or a setback during like a performance, and how did you handle it, and what did you take away from that experience?
Well, we was down by Houston. I had a show out there with GT Garza and a couple other people. They rushed my set. So, like, I hate being rushed.
You have a process.
Yeah, I have a process. I like to be able to take the moment to say something, or a process was coming next. And they cut one of my songs and went to the next song. And now I'm stumbling over my own words.
Yeah.
Because they're rushing my process. I'm not being able to express myself how I want to on that stage. So that was the biggest thing that I didn't like. But people still told me I did amazing. People, because I when I'm up there, I still show confidence. Even when everything's going wrong, I smile and I keep going.
That's hard to do, man. They threw you off, man.
They throw you off, and you got to smile, and you got to keep going. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
Can't stop.
So in your journey as an artist, you've grown and improved as you've performed over time, okay? Are there particular techniques or strategies that you've adapted on stage, or to get better and be more efficient? Obviously understanding that at that moment they threw off your cadence, your pattern, what you were used to. What are some other things that you do to prepare, and then when you're up there, to maintain focus and maintain the performance at the highest level? Like what does an artist, what does a person, what's happening in your mind during that time?
At that moment, I'm really thinking about, all right, get through these songs and get off the stage. But no, really, honestly, my honest opinion about this is, like, I try to look past the crowd.
Yeah.
I try to look past the crowd into the dark space in the back.
Yeah.
And I sing my heart out to that, to whatever that is, whatever that image is in the back. And I try to, because when you're on stage, it look like you're looking at people, even if you're not. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I don't even notice the people until they start cheering, really. So I just go as hard as I can into that dark space, like I'm staring at a reflection of myself, like I'm trying to prove myself wrong.
How much does the interaction with the audience, does it change, like, your vibe compared to, like, when you're in the studio or you're doing it on your own and no one's watching?
Man, I actually love it more by myself.
Yeah.
Because, like, we're all more free when we're by ourselves. We do the goofy things that we love to do, We have little tactics that we do by ourselves. So being in the studio, because I record at home. I go to Chico's studio. Chico's engineer up in Fort Worth.
Oh, okay.
Music and Focus studio. He's a dope engineer. He does all my music.
Yeah.
But I normally record in my room, so that whole process is me by myself enjoying the moment. So it's a judgment-free zone because it's just me.
Now you're in your room. Now there's a lot that goes into, like, your ambiance. Like this is where I produce, this is where I write, this is where I'm creative.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing it in your room, and what other atmospheres help bring the best out of Kai Woods?
Other atmospheres is great moments like the Ernie Show or going on podcasts like this. It's like, pretty sure if I leave here now, I have a whole nother motivational story that I can put out right after this interview.
Yeah.
It's always something that it's like the emotion. Like you say, you took off the E of emotion, now you're moving, keep it going. That's how this works for me. It's like when I see myself doing things and keeping active into the music scene, it actually helps me create music better. So being around people like you is what makes me create more music.
And then, so speaking of the word create or creatives, how do you see yourself as a creative? Is it like an insult, or is it a compliment? Are you like, no, man, I'm a poet, I'm a writer, I'm Kai Woods? Like, how does being creative fit into who you are, and what do you want people to know about your creativity?
Man, to answer that question, I never get offended by anything, really, because, like, everybody's not going to like your music.
Yeah.
And what I'm really trying to say is, like, me being a creator, if I'm a creator to you, I'm a creator to you. If I'm a poet to you, I'm a poet to you.
Yeah.
Because whatever I spit out is coming from my heart, but how you receive it is what really matters to you. And I'm just trying to connect with the people that connect with me.
Yeah.
So if I'm a rapper to them, I'm a rapper to them. If they love it, they love it, and that's what they need to to believe in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I take it. It's because that's what communication is. You could talk to somebody all day, but if they never understand you or what you're saying, it's like it's no point. It's irrelevant. So I don't really care what people call it or call me. I'm just Kai Woods.
I love it, man. So as a musician, as Kai Woods, we have to be inspired by music and genres and certain things. Just, I don't know what it is yet, but we're about to find out. Could you share with us the inspiration behind your like artistic journey and how you discovered your passion for music? But I put music/art.
Okay. My dad used to help my cousins record their music or sell their CDs and whatnot. This time where we actually had CDs. And they'd move them on the streets and whatnot. But he used to always work with them. And I'm like, what about me? Pay attention to me. So that's how it actually started. So I started writing, trying to get his attention and try to actually rap with my cousins. And then it slowly turned into something that I was just extremely passionate about.
Yeah.
Where I started writing to get away from people. So I started writing to get close to them, closer, and then over time it became something I used for myself to like help me want to be here.
So obviously, because your stuff is like it's good, man, and because it's good, people are gonna be attracted to you. Like, so it's kind of having the opposite effect of what you want. How do you? And you seem to like being solitary, right? Yeah. So how do you fight that conflict of like, man, I like being alone, but my art is gonna draw people towards me. So how do you deal with that?
I say this, like, when I said I started doing it for myself to get away from people, it was mostly like when I was making music, it was like I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
You know, you're crazy if you just really just talk to yourself. So I was making music so I could listen to me and understand me better.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily not to be around people, because in moments I am a people person, and then at moments I don't want to be around nobody.
Yeah.
It's like I do have those moments where it's just up and down. But I do this music stuff because I love it so much, and the only way for me to do music every day and all the time is to be an artist. If I could not be an artist and just make music and not have to worry about going to work or anything, I wouldn't even be out here doing shows crazy like that. I really wouldn't. Like, music is way more than just trying to get people to hear me and make money off of it. Music is like the reason I'm still alive. So,
man, that's great. It's music plays such a significant role for people in their breakups as they're growing up, the 80s, the 90s, this thing. Like, it defines a lot of art life journey. So you say that, and that's so true. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool to think that some of your music is part of people's soundtrack, their journey's soundtrack, man. That's crazy.
That's why it's kind of scary when people listen to my music. That's why some people neglect it, because we go out and party, we go out and drink, and we go out and have fun trying to forget the things that we go through. And when you hear music that about the stuff you're going through, you're like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want. It's hard for certain people to open up and accept that that's how they're feeling, so they neglect it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I don't know.
What are some of the main themes or messages that you portray in your music? And is there a particular story or emotion that you often try to capture in your music?
What I portray, like, I know it seemed like a girl broke my heart, really.
All the time. I'm joking.
No, for real, it does. But, honestly, I was the one breaking my heart from the way I overthink and the way I did things. And it just turns out I was playing a victim. So in my music, I was playing the victim when really I was a big part of the problem. But, it's either, they broke your heart, who cared? No, I was a bad person too. I was toxic too. But the thing was, people love to play victim, and that's the one thing that I was holding on, being a victim. So, yes, I'm not always talking about females. Sometimes I am in wrong.
Listening to it, that's the vibe, but it's crazy where it comes from, and you're just giving it from, okay, there's two sides to that story.
I'm just telling my story, how I feel, but not what she feels or how it went down. Yeah.
So tell us a significant moment or experience that profoundly impacted your artistry, style, and approach. because you said kind of what did you call it?
Emo.
You know, I called it R&B and stuff. So what drew you to that, and is that kind of is that going to be your lane for a while?
Yes, this is like, well, I found me. Like, I know I'm gonna be stuck in this for a minute because I really love and I feel free. Like, I feel so free. I feel like weight is like lifted off my shoulders. When I first started making music, I was trying to rap like J. Cole. And then after that, I started like harmonizing and being melodic on rap beats.
Yeah.
And then Juice WRLD came out.
Yeah.
And when Juice WRLD came out, I was like, I make music like this, but on these type of beats. I was like, I should have been doing it on that, but I didn't know how to make those type of beats. I didn't know where to find those type of beats.
Yeah.
I didn't know I needed those type of beats until I heard it. So after that point, I got into that lane hard. And then I'm like, man, like I was still missing something. I was still missing, like, why don't I feel like, why am I keep trying to change and find to reach these people? Why am I not just satisfied with what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you're an artist and you're making music, the goal isn't to reach people. The goal is to tell a story and be who you are, and those people that need to hear it will hear it. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out, why am I being this person? And over time, I realized, like, when I was growing up, I was listening to Coldplay, Green Day. I was listening to Fall Out Boys. I always listened to alternative pop, type of music. And I was neglecting it so long because I felt like I didn't belong in that lane.
And you going back, because the last recording of the video back behind the scenes, you're rocking out.
Yeah, I'm rocking out. And it's like, when I heard this project that I made all together, like, I never told nobody this, my friends or nothing. I literally cried in a car after I heard the project. This is who I am.
Yeah. Okay. Follow me on this, because this is good, man. So I'm on a journey like you, okay?
Okay.
My album is a little bit different. It comes in episodes. And in my journey, and I've been teaching and talking to young people for over like 15 years, man, and I've written, if it was songs, it'd be as many as you, and then I would read it and perform it however you want to break it down, all to find my voice. That's all I've been after, is like, who am I? How can I communicate? What's my purpose in life? And what you get now, like what we're doing now, this is the closest I've gotten to finding my voice. Like this is Sam. And it brings me joy to like sit down with someone like you and talk to you. And it sounds like you're getting closer to finding your voice. Can you talk to me a little bit about who Kai Woods is and his voice? And what it took to find it. Like this past album, you listen to it and you cry and it's emotional, and it's hitting something, but you've also overcome something.
Yeah.
Okay, hold the thought though, and let me finish mine, and then you go. So for me, when I sit down and I listen to this one, I'm like, man, I connected with him. Someone's gonna learn something. Like that was good, man. That was a nugget or something. And I'm like, man, all right, Sam, keep it going, keep getting better. Even though I like it, even though it's my voice, every day I want to outdo it. Every day I want to communicate better, even though it's my voice. But that's my struggle. Yeah. And I'm just curious, from your perspective, what's your struggle with your voice?
My struggle with my voice was the words coming out. And how I was saying them. And when I say how I was saying them, it's like how I tell my story to people and how they will perceive it. Like, am I saying this correct enough? Am I telling them, am I going in depth enough for them to understand this?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing with my voice, is like, is these words really how I feel, or am I not getting to these people how I'm supposed to be? Like, do I need to read more? Do I need a better vocabulary? What do I need to do to make them truly understand what I'm trying to tell them about me?
When I hear your stuff, it's there. Like it's present. Even though the artistry side of it, like you can tell a difference from 2020 to your most recent ones. Like it's just better. Like we always improve. But I think that it also connects to the time that you were at, and it captured your voice, and
you know why it's better? The reason it's better is because the message has always been good. It's the instruments that was behind it that didn't tell the story well enough. Because when you're doing emo music or like low vibration music, it is hard to do that and have a low vibration beat and want them to listen.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't have both of those negatives. And actually, that's most times you have two negatives and make a positive. But these two negatives does not make a positive. It just brings you lower. So I combated my words with the uplifting beats and with the strong cadences of the songs to make people want to dance and then hear the words. All my hooks are catchy. I do that on purpose. I make all my hooks super catchy, so when I go into my verse, I can say some real words. Like one of my songs, I'll be like, "Don't answer my question. Please answer yourself. Are you living a life that you're gonna regret? We used to crawl, now we run the world. Do you see? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I said something to a lot of people that feel lost. Like, are you doing what you want to do in life? Like, where are you going right now? Are you satisfied in the steps that you're taking to be who you want to be? Because we run the world.
Yeah.
We used to crawl, and now you're getting older. So what are you doing? But people don't realize that's how deep I was going with it.
Yeah, because when I saw you live, I was jamming out, right?
Yeah.
And in the past few days, I've been listening to all of your stuff, and I'm listening to and it works. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, I'm catching his story, I'm catching his word and his cadence, and I was able to do both. There's some that I just one dimension. I just like either I'm jamming out and working out, or I'm listening to it deeply, right?
Yeah.
And so I was able to do both, and so I think you're accomplishing that, man, and I got to give you props for that.
It took a long time to get to that point. A long time.
Yeah, people don't see that, man. Like the time
time
and effort.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a few questions about failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a stepping stone on the path to success. What are your thoughts on that statement?
It's completely true. Failure is you need failure in your life. You need it because it makes you stronger. It makes you better. The more you withstand failing, like the more you fail, the better you get. Because you just found another way not to go. Now you got to try another way. 10,000 ways to lose, and now you won't do those ever again. And somebody probably don't have those 10,000 ways to lose. So you're a step ahead of people already the more you keep trying. That's just how I think about failing. It's like the more I fail, the better I get.
Yeah. What's a big failure you've had like in music that you can maybe laugh at now, but you learned a lot from it?
The biggest fail I have in music, I wouldn't say it was like I have a biggest fail. I have this thing where I kept quitting, where I kept selling my equipment and then rebuying it, and kept selling my equipment and rebuying it.
You're like, I'm done, man.
I'm done. I'm completely done. Take all this.
Yeah.
Then 2 months go by. All right, can I buy it back? I'm gonna buy this.
How long have you had the equipment you have now?
I had this since I moved to Texas.
Yeah. Is this the longest maybe?
No, it's not the longest I had my equipment before, because when I stayed back at home, I had it for like probably 3 years.
Yeah.
But I never kept it. After that, I never kept it longer than like 7 months. Because I lived in a town where there was no belief. There was a small town where, like, bro, just get a job, bro. Just like, but I always had a job. That's the funniest thing people say. My job pays more than a lot of these people, and they just think like most rappers out here just don't work or do anything.
Yeah.
No, I'm a supervisor. But I'm still trying to live my dream. But I just went on a rant.
It's all good.
But really though, what I was saying with failing and whatnot, when I was selling my equipment, I was really trying to stop and try to become a man. That's what I thought. A man didn't do music. A man had a family. A man had a house. A man did all this. Like, you need to stop being a boy. That's what I was telling myself.
Yeah, artistry, like when people tap into their creative self, dude, like it is hard when you're growing up and you have to become a man, a husband, whatever. People are going to be like, really, Sam? Podcasting? Like, you're blowing your time and your money, but here I am. And I've had to learn to silence those voices because this is my creativity. Like this, at the end of the day, this is what I want to define me. I will work and people have a good reputation as a businessman or whatever. But when I come here, it's me. If you want to get to know me, this is me.
Yeah. So you say you separate both? You separate your work from your...
yeah, my work is just my work, right?
Exactly.
And then whenever my clients are like, Sam, you're so great at this, and man, you try to give me. I'm like, that's cool. This is just my job, and I always pitch them. And I say,
That's
I
how I
go,
feel.
but I have a podcast, and I give them a card, or I said, that's who I really am. I'm working towards that, and I'll do that for free for the rest of my life. But my goal is to make that into something, just to show myself and show the world, like it's hard. The hardest thing is to capture your creativity, and then to be able to grow it and have people believe in it. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm on. I feel like we're kind of on the same path, man. And it is a struggle, but I will continue to push record.
You gotta continue.
Yeah, continue doing this thing, man. What is a lesser known aspect or skill about you that most people would be surprised to learn?
Lesser known or skill about me. Dang, like this is a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew
Do you
it
knit,
was.
play golf, or
No, knit. He said knit.
knit, play
Like,
golf?
we was talking. Do I play baseball?
Nice.
I
What
play
position?
baseball. I play outfield.
Okay.
Play center.
Are you fast?
I was quick.
Yeah. Anticipation is key when you're out in the field, to know where it's gonna go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you gotta be real agile. And the crazy thing is, I didn't start playing until my senior year, and I made the varsity team. And
You were just
they picked
good,
me
just
out.
natural.
I was just natural. I played basketball and football most of my high school career, but yeah, I picked up baseball my senior year and got on varsity.
Nice. Baseball's a tough sport to watch. Like, you really do gotta, like,
You
'cause
gotta love it.
It's a slow,
You gotta
like, there's a
love it.
lot of intricacies into everything's very thoughtful, and it's very team oriented. And a lot of people will look at it and say, "Man, this is boring," but it's not. It's like chess. It really is like
I love chess.
Yeah,
Me
man.
and my father play chess all the time. I love chess.
Can you share a story of a time when you had to make a difficult decision that ultimately changed the course of your life or career?
When I moved to Texas.
Where'd you come from?
I'm originally from Hammond, Indiana, but I came from Chicago.
Chicago, it's got a lot of energy, a lot of musical history, but what coming here has made you better, made you open up your eyes?
It was the people I meet. I met people I met. The opportunities out here are way greater than they were where I was at. And they also say where you're from, people are going to look at you a certain way because they've seen you your whole life. So I needed a new scene, a fresh start for people to actually look at my talent and not look at my past.
How long have you been here in Fort Worth, Texas?
Almost 2 years.
And I know we talked about Rob in the very beginning. Did you meet him when you came here, or did you know him before?
No, he saw me perform at Tulips, and after that, he hit me up on Instagram, said he liked my music, blah, blah.
And y'all just connected.
We connected after that.
Dude, I love it. Because I believe in friendship so much. Like, I have friends who support me, and I can tell them the dumbest thing that I want to do, and they'll be like, "Sam, you can do it," But they really believe me because they're like my boys, and that's hard to find for guys growing. Like, as you get older, you're like, you get more secluded. You got to handle business. So it's nice, dude. Whenever I've caught wind of your relationship and everything, how much he supports you and all that. Dude, I love it. And I just try to put that vibe out there, man, because sometimes we're not so open to that.
Yeah, he's definitely on the team, bro. He's definitely a big part of the team.
All right, I got a few questions. These are just hot shot, but just, give me your honest answer, and then we'll be close to wrapping this up, man. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you think is the key to happiness?
The key to happiness is being yourself. The key to happiness is just being yourself. That's what I think it is.
What do you do? What do you enjoy doing on your free time?
I told you all I do is music, man. Really, all I do is music. That's what I like doing in my free time.
It's all good, man. What do you think makes a good friend?
Listening and understanding, and not trying to fix every problem or judging people for the mistakes they made, but just being there.
What are you most proud of in your life so far?
That I never truly gave up on my dream.
What do you hope to achieve in the future?
to be happy with the choices I made, and to enjoy where I end after taking this journey of life. That's what I'll be happy with when I get there.
Kai Woods, my man, I want to thank you for coming on the Failed Podcast. I really enjoyed this time together. Thank you for being open and sharing. I'm going to put all of your handles and everything on the description below, but is there anything that you feel like you need to share, vocally? Go ahead and do that now.
I have a EP out called Kyran. You go check that on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah.
If you try to talk to Siri, say KY Woods.
It'll pop up.
Yeah, it'll pop up. I'm going on tour soon. I'll be in a lot of cities around Texas, Washington, Colorado, New Mexico.
Nice.
I have a list up, so if you follow me, I might be in a city if you're anywhere else and listening to this.
So to finish, give me a final thought, give me a takeaway, or is there any thoughts or questions you might have for me as the Failed Podcast, and then I'll wrap it up from there.
What I really want to say is, like, this show is amazing. It actually allows people to open up and truly be who they are, talk about the worst parts of them, and it turns out to be the best thing for them. So I appreciate you having me. Like, you showed me how much I still have to work on with opening up about this, just coming on this podcast. So you showed me I still have to grow.
Yeah, well, you did good, my man. Thank you, Kai Woods, for coming on. Everyone, thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and follow and share what we're doing here. And I enjoyed today. Stay tuned. I got a good lineup coming up. I just put it on my Instagram, so we got some good things in the pipeline. But thank y'all for tuning in to the Failed Podcast. And you know what I always say. We'll see you on the next one.